Hello, this is Ashee from Crafting with Ashee and welcome to this video. This is the cute little card you're making. Look at this little otter having a ball. Isn't he cute? So this is one of our Focus Friday videos, and in February we've been focusing on colouring. So every Friday we've been focusing on different elements of colouring, and today we're going to be looking at watercolour pencils with water. We've used our watercolour pencils with blender pens. Now we're going to look at using them with water painter. So let's get started. So the stamp set we're using is this one called Awesome Otters, and it's one I got free during Celebration. Now with Celebration, for every £45 you spend you can get a free stamp set from the Celebration catalogue, and this is one I got free, so let's use it. And I've got everything set up in my Stamparatus, and you're going to stamp in Stays On ink. I'm using just a different type because I can't abide the smell of Stays On. It smells like marzipan and I absolutely abhor marzipan. So we're just going to give this a really good press down like that, and there is our little fella stamped. Now I'm just going to clean up my stamp quickly. I tend to always clean up as I go along, especially when I've used like Stays On or permanent ink on my stamp. I want to get it off. And so let's put this little one back, and we're going to do a little bit more stamping, which is, I'm going to put my mat back in here, but now we're going to use a photopolymer stamp, so we need to have the extra layer. I'm going to stamp as well. I should have said the cardstock here is shimmery white. When you're watercolouring, the cardstock you use is really important, and so I'm using shimmery white as either shimmery white or the Food 100 watercolour paper. They can both stand up to the amount of water you'll be using really well. Okay, and this is another set from Celebration called Special Moments, and let's see, what shall we use this time? I think this time I'm going to use For Someone Who Is Wonderful in Each and Every Way. Well, let's find that. For Someone Who Is Wonderful in Each and Every Way. Sorry about all the crinkling. And we're just going to stamp it on here as well, just like that. Okay, now I'm going to have to use Memento because I don't always like to use Stays On if I can avoid it with my photopolymer stamps. They're a little bit delicate as well. Any kind of clear stamp I don't like to use Stays On. It's just me, I think. Okay, so there we have that stamped. So one more clean up. As you can tell, I like to clean up as I go along, and then I don't have any, well, I don't say I don't have any, but I can limit the number of accidents I might have. So let's get rid of the Stamparatus because we're done with that now. And let's just cut away our sentiment before we start watercolouring. So I'm just going to do this freehand. So I'm going to cut. Let's cut here first. And as you can see, I'm not measuring it, I'm just eyeballing. What looks good to me. And I think a little bit more off the top here. Not so much. That will do. Yeah, there we go. There's our sentiment cut out. So let's get rid of these pieces here. Get rid of the trimmer and set our sentiment aside because we're going to do a little bit of watercolouring. And I'm going to just remove my craft sheet, my grid paper, so it doesn't get wet. And I'm going to be using the watercolour pencils, which I keep here in my little Harry Potter pencil case. You've seen it before, I'm sure. So I keep my water painters in here as well. And then I'm going to use, I've got both sets of watercolour pencils, set 1 and set 2. And I'm going to try and use, if I can find it, the smallest, this is it, one of the smallest brushes. And I'm actually going to put a little bit of water down on my mat, just like that. Okay. And then I'm going to first look at my colours, and I'm going to use mainly Early Espresso. I don't think I used actually any other colour. I did it all in Early Espresso. You're just going to check I've got the right colour. Yeah, I do. I'm going to just start to colour in, just gently. I'm just putting a first layer of colour down. And then we can add more as we go along. And that's just a first layer of colour. Let me zoom you in a little bit, maybe more, you'll be able to see better. There we go. Now I'm just going to take this. I'm actually just going to, hang on a second, I'm going to get myself a little cloth. Sorry about the squeak. Here, to wipe my brush off any excess water. Now we're just going to take my water painter and we're just going to blend that colour, pulling it along and blending it out. Take your time, as with any colouring, any painting, you know, don't rush it. Watercolouring is actually a very forgiving medium. So don't rush things. And I would say, as I said, less is more. Build up the layers, build up the colour, the intensity. It's much easier to add a little bit more colour than it is to take something off. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my watercolour pencil, my painter, to the tip of my pencil. This is a way to add extra colour. And this is what I tend to do to add some shading. Is I just take it like this to the pencil and just put a little bit of colour down. Like that. I keep on going, just where I want to add a little bit more. You'll see when you colour with watercolours, a totally different effect to colouring with, say, just pencils by itself, or even colouring with the blender pens, or colouring with an ink pad, or certainly to alcohol markers. Each one has its own space and it's not a replacement for the other. Most of us have a medium we prefer and find the easiest or just enjoy the most, but they each give a different effect. So there we've got a little otter, and I'm pleased with that. So I'm going to add a little bit of colour now to, just a little bit to his tummy, just like that, and then use my brush to just blend all of that out. If you feel you've got too much in a place like there, you can just take your cloth and dab away while it's still wet any excess, and then you can go in again with your pencil if you want and just add while it's still anything extra you want. And now I'm adding a little bit with the pencil and I'm going a bit rough because I want to add a little, I want it to look a bit rough because I want it to look like his fur, which won't be totally smooth. If you've seen an otter when it's on dry land with wet fur, it doesn't look totally smooth, and I'm just blending anything out that I might want. And I think I'm happy with the way he looks, just like that. Okay, so I'm going to dry that off and I'll be back. So there's our little otter all coloured in, and I've just cut him out using the trimmer. So now we can start to assemble our card. let's bring back all our bits. Now here I've got some Misty Moonlight cardstock and some Misty Moonlight designer series paper, I should rather say. I'm going to stick this down, so I think I'm going to use my snail just for ease, and I'm just going to use this to mat. Like that. And as usual, I'm not going to measure, I'm just going to trim using my trimmer like that. So you can see that's what we've got for that. And then the sentiment that we had here, I'm also going to put down on some cardstock, and look at that. That was a scrap and it fits perfectly. Isn't that fortuitous? Let's stick this down. In the middle there. Lovely. So we've got those two pieces. So let's bring in our card base. Our card base is Melon Mambo. And then I've got here a piece of basic white, and this measures 14.35 centimeters by 10 centimeters. And this designer series paper here that I'm using is pink. It's from the Sunshine and Rainbows, and this is another freebie I got from Celebration. I did very well in Celebration. I got some lovely freebies. And let's get a scissors here, and I'm just going to cut off the overhang, just like that. And this piece is going to be my insert. So, because this year I'm trying to make sure I put inserts in all my cards so that they're totally ready to be used when I finish, when I've made them, and I don't have to go back and do any other extra bits. And then I've got a new storage system for all of my greeting cards that all my cards that I make, so it's easy to find. If you'd like to see that, let me know, and I can post a picture or do a video to show you how I organise all my cards that I make. So I've got another piece here of that same designer series paper, and I'm going to mat it on a piece of basic white. Now all the measurements will be on the blog post on my website, and the link to that is in the description box below. And I should also take this moment to say in the description box below is all my social media links, and that includes a link to my Facebook group where I host like a monthly online card club. I've started to organise challenges every 2 weeks, so there's a theme or a prompt every 2 weeks, and you have 2 weeks to enter, and there's a prize at the end, so do come and have a look at that. So now I'm going to stick down my little otter here on the front, and then I'm going to pop this one up on dimensional, so let's get some of those. So this is the last Focus Friday for this month, and as I said, this month we've been looking at colouring, so all the Focus Friday videos are in a playlist, so, and you can see that on my channel, so do have a look there and you'll see all the different techniques. For January we looked at embossing folders, and February now we've looked at colouring, and then in March we're going to be looking at different techniques using stencils. So do check out that playlist, and I hope maybe you find it useful. Okay, we're done. So there are two little otters. What do you think? Aren't they cute? You seem so happy and jolly. So I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, I'd be grateful if you could give it a thumbs up so YouTube know. It really helps with making my videos more visible and helping me to make more videos for you. So I'd be ever so appreciative if you could do that. So as I said, if you want to know anything more about the projects, all the links are in the description box below. So thank you again, and until next time, enjoy being creative. Bye.